good day to all. Today we're going to look at listening sub-skills. This is week 17, in which we will be looking at the importance of determining which information is relevant and irrelevant to candidates. Now, in the MUET listening component, students are expected to answer questions based on the audio that they hear. Now, the first thing that we need to determine is which information is relevant to the questions that are being asked. Okay. Before we start, we will look at the definition for listening itself. It is an active process in which we make sense of, assess, and respond to what we hear. This is precisely what candidates who sit for the MUET listening component are expected to do. Active listening is a particular communication technique that requires the listener to provide feedback on what she hears from the speaker. Active listening means that students must be able to restate, paraphrase what they have heard in their own words. The goal of this repetition is to confirm what the listener has heard and to confirm the understanding of both parties. This is very important for students who expect to answer the listening component, MUET listening component. The ability to actively listen demonstrates that nothing is being assumed or taken for granted. Active listening is the most important in order to improve personal relationship, reduce misunderstanding, conflicts, strengthen cooperation, and foster understanding. Now, when engaging with a particular speaker, a listener can use several degrees of active listening, each resulting in a different quality of communication with the speaker. This active shows that there are main degrees of listening: repeating, paraphrasing, and reflecting. Now, one of the most important or basic problems where active listening is hampered is that students have low concentration. Now, this can be to a variety of situations or reasons, such as visual or auditory distraction, physical discomfort, inadequate volume, lack of interest, or personal bias. Now, when listeners give equal weight to everything that they hear, it makes it difficult for them to determine, organize, and retain the information that is needed. So, students must be able to ensure that they are able to understand the information, which information that is being received, and at the same time they are able to process and respond to the information that is being provided in the audio. Another problem that would actively hamper in determining relevant and irrelevant information is jumping ahead. It means that students or candidates make the assumption of what they know or what they presume to know. It can be when listening to a speaker's message, audience or the candidates overlooks aspects of the conversation or makes judgment before all the information is presented. Another problem is that confirmation bias is the tendency to pick out aspects of a conversation that supports one's pre-existing beliefs and values. So, students must ensure that they are thinking critically during the listening component itself. Now, what is the connection between critical thinking to listening? Critical thinking occurs when students believe or figure out in a reasonable and reflective way. The concepts and principles of critical thinking can be applied to any context, especially listening and reflecting upon that nature of application. Now, in most general terms, critical thinking means a way of taking up the problems in life. That is the general definition. And when it comes to the listening component, students must be able to critically think which information is relevant to their needs and leave out information that are not part of the questions itself. Now, critical thinking is important because students will be able to find solutions to problems or recognize problems. understand the importance of prioritization. It means that students are able to determine which information is relevant and irrelevant, and they are able to gather information that is pertinent to the question. They are able to use the language clearly and with efficacy, and most importantly, they are able to interpret data and form conclusions based on that data. Okay, the other aspect of critical thinking is that it helps students to determine the presence of logical relationship. Okay, and the other aspect of critical thinking is to make sound conclusion and generalization given on data or based on the data given. Now, I hope all this information would help you to interpret, understand on how to gather relevant information that are related to the question in the Muat listening component, and the rest of the exercises will be in your Google Classroom. Thank you.